She walked into the briefing tent like just another soldier, silent, steady, unreadable. But the moment the general locked eyes with her, the entire room felt the shift. No one knew her name, her history, or why she was suddenly assigned to the most classified mission on Bazi Broken Bar. But when he demanded her call sign, what she said froze every man in that room. Specter 6. And that's when the truth no one expected began to unravel. Which part of the country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. The base's command tent was unusually tense that morning, even for a forward-deployed unit operating close to hostile territory. Dust hung in the air like unsettled secrets. Soldiers sat silently as General Hartley, a man known for never breaking composure, entered with his usual clipped steps. But what made everyone stiffen wasn't him up, it was the unfamiliar woman walking behind him. She wore standard desert camouflage armor, gear strapped with precision, and a calm expression that didn't reflect the chaos this region usually carved into newcomers. No one recognized her. No one had even seen her transported in. It was as if she'd appeared from thin air, already mission-ready. She stood at attention, silent, while the general placed a stack of classified files on the table and turned to face her. His jaw tightened, an unusual crack in his iron-like demeanor. "Lieutenant," he said, "before we continue, state your call sign for the record." A simple enough request, yet his tone suggested there was more buried beneath the surface. The woman didn't blink. "Specter 6, she answered. The moment the words left her mouth, the room went dead silent. Soldiers glanced at each other, confused. A few shifted in their seats, suddenly uneasy. The name meant nothing to most of them, but to those who had been around long enough, story as a whispers, really flickered in their minds. The Spectre program had been shut down nearly 6 years earlier. Only a handful of operators were ever selected, and even fewer survived the missions they were assigned. They weren't just special forces, they were shadows, a ghost assets used only when the government wanted something done without leaving a single trace behind. No photos, no records, only rumors. And yet here she was, claiming that call sign like she had every right to. General Hartley stared at her, his eyes narrowed with something between suspicion and disbelief. "That program was dissolved," he said. "Every operative was accounted for." "Not every operative," she replied quietly. That was the moment everything changed. The general dismissed everyone except his senior staff. The tent emptied in seconds, leaving only the highest-ranking officer set and the woman who'd just shaken an entire unit's confidence. Once the flap closed, she stepped forward and placed the sealed drive on the table. "Intelligence says the enemy recovered a prototype targeting system," she explained. "If activated, it can neutralize our air support before it even leaves the runway." The general exhaled sharply. "And you know how to find it?" "I know where it originated," she said, "because Spectre Unit 6 was the one who extracted the engineer who built it." A ripple of shock crossed the officers' faces. She continued, "He didn't defect. He was taken, and the only team that knows his coded trails is mine, at least a broken bar, what's left of it." The general hesitated, as something he never did. "You're the only surviving member?" She looked down briefly. "I wasn't supposed to be." "But after the last mission," as she paused, steadying herself, "command cut us loose. No extraction, no backup, and the only reason I'm standing here is because I refuse to die where they tried to bury me." The revelation dropped like a grenade in the room. Betrayal, abandonment, buried secrets. But beneath all that, something else. She wasn't here to accuse anyone. She was here to finish what she started. The general straightened, the weight of his responsibility returning to his shoulders. "If we authorize you to lead this mission," he said, "you'll be stepping back into a program the Pentagon swore never existed." She met his eyes without hesitation. "Sir, with respect, I never left." The room fell silent again, and not out of shock this time, but out of respect. The general took a step forward and extended his hand. "Then Specter 6, a broken bar, the mission is yours." She shook his hand firmly. But before anyone could take a breath of certainty, a soldier rushed into the tent. "General." Unauthorized drone signatures approaching the perimeter. Everyone looked at her instinctively, and not the general, not the staff officers, but her. And with a calmness that didn't match the rising alarm outside, she reached for her gear. "They know I'm here," she said, "which means we're already out of time." And without another word, Specter 6 stepped into the sunlight, and not as a stranger, but as the ghost who had returned to finish what no one else could. If you want more stories like this, make sure to subscribe. Your support helps us bring these dramatic military tales to life.